video. I kept trying everything, Instagram, Facebook, GoPro died, that never really worked. Everything would sort of drop out. But YouTube's been the platform that's been working for me, so not many subscribers, but at least it works. So yeah, I've tried to set up a scheduled feed so you don't have all that garbage of me like jumping around, bringing up your feed and stuff. I'm slowly learning how to do this a bit better, so maybe I'll keep it up. So I don't think anyone's here anyway, so you must be watching this in post. I'm just gonna get building. Oh cool, I can watch my stuff. Oh, good, turn the sound off. So that's something I had to learn. Oh cool, and the delay is pretty good too. It's not horrible. Great. It's really hot today, so I probably will have to use the fan, so there'll be a bit of noise. I don't plan on talking much unless someone wants to come in and chat. That would be really cool. Large part of why I'm doing this, well, one, it's good like promo and just, you know, interest in the hobby, and but two, it keeps me motivated. If someone's watching over my shoulder while I'm building something, I work like twice as fast, I hope. And even if I get stuck in a conversation, that would be good, because I'm happy to chat pedals and take a mental break. Just make sure my pants and flies all done up, and I just realized like you're looking down at me. Let's see if I can move things back a bit. But then you're just looking at an empty desk. Oh, whatever. I guess if I get, you know, working, that would be the gist of it. So, this is where I was doing yesterday. These are the last two that I have to make in the queue, so if you're waiting on these, I'm so sorry. I'm working through my weekend. Tomorrow's also going to be a public holiday, so it's not going out tomorrow. So I've got a little bit of time. I'm doing an experiment doing the last two at the same time and seeing how much that might help to speed up the process. What happened was I bit off way more than I can chew with these. I mean, it's manageable, but I've learned that the time required building them one at a time, as I am, for the price was ridiculous. Trying to be polite or humble. So yeah, every time I tried to build one of these, it just seemed to span over 3 days. So hopefully you can get a view of what I'm doing. I don't normally do a portrait view because it is wasting a lot of space. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, so this is where I dropped off yesterday, just remembering. So I gotta put the pots in. The tone pots are 20 kW, or you could use a G, is what the tube screamer used. W is very similar, it's not the same. But I didn't have a solder terminal one, so I've just like bent the legs off a PCB one. And coincidentally, if I worked out if I leave the middle one, bend it around, it's going to slide in really nice into the tag strip where I need it to go. So it's just going to look like I did it intentionally, I think, which I now am. I'm going to keep that up. So yeah, before I get any further, so I'm just loading the hardware in now. I've got to put some wires on the pot. It's just going to be that much easier to do it now than later. So I'm just going to pre-tin it a bit, heat up the legs, and not much at all. And I'm using a socket, doesn't matter which size socket you use, because I'm using the reverse end. I mean, it wouldn't matter, it's just the scale, whatever. Cool. Now, these ones I did yesterday. One's a bit longer, one's a bit shorter. The long one goes on that side. Terminal 1. Which, when we're looking at them upside down, is going to be on the right. And I'm going to talk out loud, think out loud. It's funny having an excuse to talk out loud to yourself, and a little bit dangerous, I think. So I've just had my morning coffee. I'm a bit jumpy, but I've out of excuses not to hit the soldering iron, you know. Watch 10 minutes of TV and, well, alright, now's the time. A bit of a blob there happening. I'm gonna drop that, if I can, in the solder pot. using this here. Yeah, maybe if I can squeeze things in. Yeah, I like that more. I gotta put tools there. That's a good idea. Cool. Iron closer to the workspace. So the short one on this side. So I've got a fan. I wouldn't mind running the fan, but then I've also got the extractor just there, and it sort of might as well be one or the other. But if I run the fan, it's going to blow the fumes into my face. Sorry, I mean like if I run one, I need both, not one or the other. So it'll be doubly noisy. So I might just try and put it off as long as I can for the sake of the video. Not that there's anyone live, I don't think. Oh, hey, Tom, there is someone live. How long have you been there? Chat to me, please. Good to chat. I always, so I don't get much time to chat typing, so talking might be easy. Sunday, you're not working. I mean, I'm sure you've got stuff to do. You've always got work to do, but you're not, you know, daily grinding. Came on a few minutes. Cool. Oh, that's good. I've got to like look up at the screen every now and then. It would be good to get sound notifications. I've got to look into that. Sometimes someone types and I miss it by like, you know, ages. Yeah, I'm doing these. Doing them. The last two, and I'll put the price back up on the website. I think I made it like $5.99, same as the. Oh, maybe it's $5.89. Yeah, $5.89. Same as the Black Russian, but I took off $10 because I'm not powder coating the box. I just thought it's hard to price them exactly the same. I haven't like cost accounted them or anything. I've just taken a guess at how long they take to build, and probably should. I know if I cost account it, then like it's going to ruin the game for me and I just won't build them anymore. So I don't know how proper this is, like just tacking these onto the pots, but it's pretty valid for me. Wait, oh, good enough. I'm a bit shaky still. I need to install a screen bench so you can lock down some. So I never read that. We need to just install a screen in the bench so you can look down and solve. And there's like a love heart in the way of the text. I'm constantly soldering off the bench too, like. And sometimes I'm like often working on my knees. I like trying to just like grab enclosures, like it's, like I can totally justify like angling it. And when I used to build the amps, as far as I could, I would love like working with it on my lap. And it was mostly up until the point where you chuck in the heavy transformers and you're like, okay, that's a bench job now. I don't know. It just really it gets it right in your face. You're right on top of it, like. Touching things, you know? More involved, like. I need to take this all up again. This sticker tape's been gone for years. Okay, I think before I get too far, I might do these LEDs. Because if I put the pots in first, I probably won't have enough space to get a shifter in well. Let's see. How did I do this last time? So a couple bits of heat shrink. I'll just cut them off. Maybe like 8 mil, something like that. So there'll be 2 of them. Put one of these away. So here are the LEDs I've got. They're from Dazatronyx. I really like the quality of them, so I know Tata have some cheap ones. This is not a cheap build. Yeah, it would be good to do something better with the solder. I used to sort of have reels of wire up in front of me, and but now I'm just down to like one kind of wire. It's just off the reel now because I'm out. And there's the new one. Yeah, I just try and keep it simple, get rid of stuff. Let me have a think. It's the negative side. I'm just going to do a wire going to the foot switch. I'm going to cut my nails. I'm going to get a couple sleeves of Teflon. Hopefully this will be a good enough video to keep, actually, if I keep talking and connection doesn't drop out. I don't need much. I'll probably just cut it down. Small ones. Hopefully I can get some time to clean up after this one. Probably not. Okay. Actually, it doesn't have to be small. It doesn't really matter the size. So I'm going to put a little sleeve of Teflon on the negative. Because I'm going to join on another wire, but I just want to put some insulation between the wire and the chassis so I can't accidentally short out, because I'm going to bend it around pretty soon. Could you put a shelf on your bench and have it poking through a spool system? So many things I could do. Everything in this office needs to come out and just go back in with a better plan, because it's really based around having the laser and stuff where it was. Practically, I should probably just get them in front of me, and then like they got the minimal distance to. I should really look into what professionals do. That's always the best, because they got this stuff sussed out, like down to the efficient dollars and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like I don't, even though it's meant to be my job, I don't build enough stuff to get too stressed. So I'm just going to put a little loop on this so I've got something to push into, and should have double checked, but that was, yeah. Trying to idiot check everything. That's the negative side. Making the loop just small enough that I can, push a wire into it. What Robert Keeley does. Oh, he's got a lot of videos, or at least he did. Particularly around the time after he started getting the CNC set up, and I'm just realizing too, I should probably assemble all this. That's why I'll be able to fit all the hardware back down later. Yeah, it looked like he was sort of handing down to next in line to his kid, his son, I think it was. I could be completely wrong. It's just what's in my head. And they're doing more DSP stuff like that. Just bumping up production. Like they got in equipment, and he's a good success story. And trying to look in. He used to do like some live video things. I remember he had like a little vaporizer, custom one, set up in one room. Like it's like a mod box pedal sort of thing. I'm just thinking, make sure this will have space later. I have not built enough of these to know what I'm doing. And I'm going to think too how the positive's going to work out. How is that going to work out? Probably, yeah, I'll probably spin it like that. And the positive probably won't need any insulation because it's going to be short. It's not going to have anywhere to go. Taut? Let's say taut. So I like to see what Robert's doing and stuff like that, because like trying to evaluate what the industry's doing. Like everyone says it's collapsed. It collapsed, you know, years ago, 10 years ago maybe. But you know, the small percentage that got in early, he's been around, is super smart, and like if he can sustain business, that's like a best case scenario, I guess. But if he's struggling, like, and he's got the best case scenario going for him, then it's I guess that's what you're seeing in the brands that are packing up. But a lot of the brands do pack up in this. Okay, that's what I'm up to. Just spacing out. Yeah, if you can find any cool Keeley tours. Okay, I need to cut some more wire. 104 mil, I think it was. The LEDs. So I'm hoping like doubling up, doing 2 at once is going to be a big chunk more effective and efficient, because I'm sort of like screwed for time on these already. Like these are from, I guess, last week, we'll say. And they're sort of expected to be delivering them within the week. Then we got the public holiday on Monday. So since I'm already screwed for time, I figure I might as well try and be effective with my time to undig the hole a little bit. And good things come when you try new things under stress. Like maybe building 2 at a time will be what can make this project more viable. Because I know they're stupidly priced as well. I'm sort of happy with them being stupidly priced, because you can always just go get the sensibly priced one. Like I'm not trying to sell or push like you have to get this one, it's better. So I'm stripping off like 2 millimeters on each side, not much, like just a minimum. Yeah, I mean, so I need to be more effective with my time. So many things just come down to self-management. Like if you're not very good at it, then like you might just be like 30% effective of what you do with your time anyway. And you keep thinking like, oh, I can work that out, maybe I'm not great at that. Well, you have to be, otherwise it doesn't work. Doesn't mean I am, but wouldn't that be nice? So how am I going to do this? See if I've got like a little big lighter. Just bought one. Digital recording essentials. There you go. I think I might put a sleeve on the other side too. It's I'll assemble this now, because that way I'm not going to forget which one's which. Like it's a good idiot check. I just need to make it all skinny enough that I can put the hardware, sleeve it over later. You know, sometimes you have to pull things back apart and you're like, oh, darn. So I'm going to hold that. That's like beautifully wrapped around, it's nice and thin. Lob the side away from. There we go. Sure, I'll say that's good. And double it up, next one too. So like a lot of this is just me like humming and hawing, or umming and ahhing, and working out what the next step's going to be. So if I'm doing 2 at a time, I have to hum and ha or hum and ah once. I hope. Again, I like that. Can you see that? I like it. You can look at like NASA approved specs for how to do this and stuff. Okay, now I'm going to put that little heat shrink on. Is it enough? Barely. I probably should have made it a bit bigger, but whatever. If it doesn't work out, I can just start again, I guess. I think that's fine. Again, double everything up. Try to feel that where the center should probably be, but probably missed it, whatever. Yeah, could have been better. I wonder if I can slow it up still. A little bit. Oh, wasn't meant to happen. Oh no. That needs glue to hold it back in again now. Awesome. Because I just threw out my glue and this some came. No, I didn't have it. Alright, that sucks. Yeah. Oh crap, which one was it? I can tell. Maybe this one. So what I'm going to do is just leave that pre-wire, chuck in the dryer, remind me it's already wired up. I'll be fine to use it next time. Good thing I have a spare. Oh, should put the hardware with it too. Sometimes on the trim, if I have to pull them apart, it's actually just easier to pop the whole LED out and I super glue it back in later. And you gotta be really careful doing the glue because if the vapors sort of spread outwards, you get that white yuckiness. Okay. So let's do this again. I'm trying to get the heat shrink a bit longer and better positioned on this one. It's the same thing, put that little hook, make sure it's on the negative side. Oh, my mouse just came off. I'm going to change my power settings, one sec. Energy, turn off display, never. Cool. That's another thing to remember. What was it? 104. Sucks because I'm running out of this wire. It's gotten super expensive too. I haven't really worked out what to do about that. I think the answer is nothing I can do. I think I was waiting for a quote from Bellman as well and they didn't get back to me. That's not a good sign. Because like I quoted like, how much can you sell me for one? Ooh. Okay, one of these is a bit longer than the other. I'll probably put the long one in here because I know the short one on the foot switch doesn't really, shorter the better kind of. Again, that's pretty good. I like that. Let's get a bit of longer heat shrink this time. See you later. Have a great day. Cool, man. Thanks for jumping in. I'm sure, yeah, the day is just starting, so you got a lot to do. Yeah, things are going good to chat, even though you didn't say much, we didn't say much. Have a good one. See ya. Okay, so that's better. What I was thinking, I might put like just a really short sleeve on before I put that resistor on. So I'm just going to cut these up a bit. Just so I'm guaranteed that it's like joining a bit far away from all the earth chassis metal. Cool. I'll put that little hoop, loop, hook, whatever. And then I'll assemble it and then put the resistor on to the last second probably. Don't know which way it's going to bend, so I'm just going to leave it and work it out later. Okay, I'll chuck them in. Last chance to sort of check it all out. I mean, like idiot, check the enclosure's not scuffed, etc. I mean, not really last chance, but the more hardware you start loading in, yeah. I'm going to try and spin it so it's just a bit off where I want it to land, because there's not really much to grab on, and I don't really even have a precision tool to do this. So I'm just, yeah. Try to like hold it on the back until it grabs a bit. Also trying to not scuff up the chassis, which I failed. Cool. That wire, I can bend over now. I'm just gonna grab it by the base as I bend it, so it's like bending not right at the junction where it comes out of the hardware. And I'll float that there until later when the foot switch goes in, which I'll probably should do after the pots, maybe. Should do the foot switch next. Because once I get that in, it sort of protects the case from scuffing on the bench. Again, last idiot check. I've been looking at this for a while, so little spring washer and the nut. Yeah, it's sort of grabbing. I like it. I think it is. And again, I'll do the same thing. I'll just grab it with the base and that little Teflon bit I made. So The wire's got somewhere to fix. And I'll let that sit loosely until I work it out later. Speaking of working it out later, let's get on to that. Foot switches. I'm going to take the hardware off and load those two nuts back in. On at it. Let's suss out hardware. I don't need these, I'll take them back. Save them for later. So with these dress nuts on these Gorva switches, I do have to sort of like run them in and down once. They're just a little tight on the tolerance, which is good. But it's a lot easier to do it now rather than once it's on the box, and like I'll probably end up scuffing the box trying to apply that extra pressure, and you can't gauge the pressure well, like if it's on properly. Just that first little turn. And then once you do it once, like I can't see it like scraping blading off or anything. Yeah, like if I tried to put that on the box, I think, oh, alright, it's done, but it could still, like it's completely stopped. Yep, just gonna bust it through once. So all this stuff takes a little bit longer. These dress nuts are really expensive. They're not like caps, they are actually solid nuts. So they're not just capping over like the cheap ones people get, where it's just a cosmetic thing. Okay, so I need 4 of them. They look good. Make sure they're straight. This one is. These are just thick enough that they slide through both terminals hopefully without bending the wire. If you go one thicker, so you got to kink at each end to get it in. Going through just enough to make a mechanical wrap. Same for the one beside it. And I'm only soldering one end because the other end's got a wire going in later. So now I can cut them out. And repeat. So this could theoretically be an instructional for how to build the whole pedal if I had a continuous video, which I really doubt I can pull off because that's a lot of hours. Whoops, that sort of fell off. It's very centered that. Yep. I'm just going to pull it a little bit so it's. Yep. I don't want to tug on these terminals like at all if I can avoid it. Good switch. A little more solid. Didn't hit the terminal enough. There we go. So these are all the same legs. They're from the Nichicon capacitors, so I save them up, put them aside, so I know I can get consistent. You know, there's like little piles of different legs, leads, clippings, whatever. It was a component leg at one point. Cut that out. Okie day. So before I load these in, I would like to. What's this there for? What is this there for? It's pretty long. Don't know. Yeah, I'll just put some more wires on the foot switch before I load it in. It'll just be easier now. So I need two that are 16mm. Barely anything to grab onto, it's stripping it. Just tin them. Maybe if I had a solder pot active. Oh no, it oxidized. Like, I won't be using it quick enough to really justify it. I'm running continuously for hours. Well, the idea was shut down pretty quickly. I'm just putting a little kink on each side of that, get it started. And this is going to carry earth. It's just like a little jumper for earth. Because I'm only going to feed earth in from one location rather than running two earths to the switch, or just have a little jumper. Purpose of this particular wire, it'll switch the LED on and off, and then when the pedal's in bypass mode, it'll ground the return signal off the circuit board, and there's another one that grounds the input like a send. A lot of switch diagrams don't do that. They just ground the input, but there is a way of configuring it to do both input and output grounding, like send and return from the circuit board grounding. Here's what I'm going to use. Two little 0-ohm jumpers. Hopefully this will decongest slowly. I'm just going to start loading it all back in. Okay, repeat, kink. Each side. I'm only soldering one side because one side will have to get the earth going into it. Cool. It's a bit blobby. I'm being too self-conscious on soldering here. We don't need as much as there. Cool. I'm thinking from this point that can probably load in. I'll do the rest while it's in the enclosure. So here's the trick. I'm going to take earth off this star washer, which is a little dodge, but also not. It might make the nut not go on completely flat. And this isn't really a critical connection because, like I said, it's only doing the LED and grounding the unused terminals, the floating terminals in bypass. So neither of those are actually required. It won't be entirely floating. So yeah. So I'm going to feed that in a little bit. Like, I'm not worried about this shorting to anything because the only thing it can really short to is earth, which is what I'm trying to make it carry anyway, so. Take that slack in now. Not too much. I can always pull it through a bit later. I do want to let it find its own seating. Now this is a good time that I could screw up the whole box, so it's good to do this early. If I slip, I could easily scuff the print job. So it's probably good to get onto this before getting too much further, because now I can hit abort, start again, reprint it. So I'm trying to hold the switch and rotate from the top. There's no point in holding the enclosure, the case, because you'll just, yeah, because I want to get it all aligned fairly neatly. And if I held the case and turned the nut, it's just not what I need. But I am holding the case still, like I'm getting my bearings from it. But the main thing I'm trying to secure is the switch. And I think that's good where I left that. I like it. So, this is bugging me. I'm going to pull that slack through now. I won't do a mechanical wrap on it because I want the pedal to be serviceable, so if someone ever did change a foot switch one day, that would be me. I could just like tack that wire out, tack it into the new foot switch and not have to like unwrap it and make a mess. And again, it's not really a critical thing anyway. How's that looking? It's okay. Yeah, I did alright with that. So while it's here, let's get this wire out of the way. So the LED, I said we'll have to come in there, so there it is. I'm just going to pull it out so the insulation is not right into the little terminal eyelet thing there. Right, if it doesn't move, don't move. Oh, it moved. Change my angle here. Really, it just keeps wanting to push in. I have to take out some of this slack later, but I'll do that a bit later. Whatever, this is the best I'm going to get. Don't move. Cool, I'm just trying to hold it steady while the joint solidifies. And I've got to turn my screensaver off. I didn't even know if I had a screensaver. Actually, it's not a bad idea if the monitor's running for hours. But then I miss out on any chats, like with the right chats. This is weird talking to myself. Desktop and screensaver, there it is. No, I'm just going to power settings. Oh, so start after, no, sorry, screensaver. Okay, that's looking good. I said I will have to absorb that slack. I might as well start doing it now. Because that terminal tag strip that's going to come across will cut that wire off. Good. Next. Took forever, huh? It is getting hot. Gotta put that fan on. Yesterday was 38 Celsius, so it's like 100.4 Fahrenheit, something like that. Today's I think 35, but it's feeling hot. Like last night didn't really cool down, so it's like carrying on from yesterday. Keep going. This guy into this guy. I guess I'm trying to put it at the top. Off to the side. Why am I doing it off to the side? I mean, I could just do it from the bottom. Let's try it. Yeah, I mean, there's heaps of space. I don't know. I think it's just habit from the way I built the other ones. Crazy. Didn't think of that. Much neater. Look at that. Tidy, tidy, tidy. Tidy, tidy, tidy. I wish I did all the other ones that way. I might just update the diagram to remind myself next time. Yeah. Maybe a little bit, just to make sure it's aligned. Don't want to do this around to do it, obviously, but something's very easy to screw up, like if I dig the shifter onto the print, because there's very little meat to grab on there, you know. Cool. Yeah, I'm just going to cut that, solder it, let it. Oops. Yep, that's good. So I let it come out a little bit, not straight on the terminal. So it overhangs a bit each side. Probably not good to solder with a fan blowing straight at it. And again, the insulated bit here is a bit long, so I'll probably end up cutting it when I'm done. Or maybe not. It can be long, who cares? Put it in the middle, make sure the iron's clean, heat up the terminal. Slack. Okay, moving forwards. There's that 20k tone pot. Which is back what I wanted to do when I picked the box up, and a few things distracted me. Got a 8mm socket, or 10mm socket, sorry. Trying to sort of align it visually, centered in, make it all look straight and neat. How's that? It's hard to see, it could be an illusion, but again, double. Everything in doubles. I need a washer now. How's that? I think it's a tilt a bit. It all adds up, you know. I'm spending a lot of time just trying to do what I can. Oh no, what? How do I have 20, what? Oh, maybe I thought I was going to be building 3 of them at the time, yeah. I just found like an extra pot and like, that worried me. I forgot I grabbed out enough to build 3, but, oh no. Okay, still this doesn't add up. Let me double check the value of these pots because now I'm freaking out. Yeah, there's a meter. Should be one somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna put this pot to maximum. Should get 100. Should get 1 meg out of that. 1.7 meg. What the hell? That's exactly what it says. 1.6. Okay. This one? 1.5. At least they're saying the same thing. That's crazy. Is that really the value? So, no. Something's up here. What's going on? Terminal hasn't plugged in. What the heck? Okay, now we're on track. Again, I'll turn the pot to max. Start again. Not a reliable meter. 0.982 meg. Perfect. I was aiming for 1 meg. Again, turn to max. Tell me this is a 1 meg. I don't want to take it out and do this crap again. 0.882 meg. So yeah, you can see that's the tolerance thing. It's what? 12.2% out. Which is not, it's not great, but it's not unusual at all for pots. So let's put one of them away. 1 meg A. This is just going to confuse me. 20, put that away. I mean, they're all right, aren't they? That's 20. 22. Let me check the other one. It's got to be. I just want to really idiot check these builds because there's no way I want to pull them apart at the end. That would just depress me. 100B, I'm going to put that back into stock. Ooh. Put it in the right bag. Cool, okay. Good, everything was good. I had an extra 100B I can't account for, or can I? I do freak out a little. So, keep going. 100B. It's pretty easy to put the wrong pot in for the wrong control because they're not really labelled on the enclosure. I wouldn't say common, but you know, sometimes I do stupid things. It's good to check as many ways as I can because this build has a lot of room to do stupid things. I want to do none by the time I finish, like 0. Doesn't work out, but the closer you get to that, like all these fire up first time, and they have to because if you're debugging or if there's like dodgy connections anywhere like that, the whole thing's like questionable. It should be like systematically safe and solid, electromechanically secure and blah blah. Cat hair. The hardware has like a protective coating, everything's sticky. Whatever they stops it oxidizing, rusting. Well, not rust. I think they're aluminium or aluminum if you're a Yankee Doodle. So 100K B, 100K linear putts for the volume, which then goes off to a buffer and out to the foot switch. Can be a bit tighter because I just saw it move. Cool. Any wires on them? Yes. I should have done them earlier. So what's that? 71 and 27. Is that what this is? I want to find out what I did with this. No, that's 80, 87, something like that. Which doesn't help me for anything that I can see. Oh. Yeah, it could be an input wire. I reckon that's what it was actually. It is. Oh yeah, but it was too short. Yep. Let me measure that again. 5, 6, 7. Cool. Okay, this one's up for grabs then. I'm going to turn it into a 71mm wire for the volume output. Start cutting from that side. 71 is about there. I'm not going to have any use for this tiny scrap, so I'll throw that in the bin. I would put it in the recycling, but trying to strip off that Teflon wire to save that bit of copper would be a lot of work. Again, there's another 71. So one side's going to a pot, so I need a fair amount, and the other side's going to the tag strip, so again, a fair amount. I really wish I had breakfast before I did this. I don't see anything in my food basket. Cool. While it's in my hand, I might as well put it on the part. It's 71 is the output, which is log number 2. And this is going to have to sort of scoop down a bit to duck under the tag strip that's coming under, so I don't want to do it too high up. Tabs are uniform looking, sort of. Cool. And again, working in duplicates. Put the shorter side on here because the tag strip probably needs a bit more insulation strip than what a pop does. Like one's always going to come out a little bit shorter and longer, even if you try and make them the same. Okay, that. There's a lot of missing out. No, that's alright though. So that's going to come down, something like that. I'll probably push it against the chassis now. Another reason is because I've got more wiring coming later for the battery connector. I should get one of them out so I don't forget. Okay, next we have, I have you, hey mate, so this, thanks for checking, jumping in. This is a Tube Screamer TS10, but I'm building it on tag strips, so it's going to be like 5 rows of tag terminal. I'm doing 2 at a time. So it's all point to point, no circuit board, and it'll take me like 3 days. So I'm just doing a live video because it's Sunday to keep myself motivated. If someone's watching over my shoulder, I just work better. Too, it might be something people want to watch. Probably not. Just live videos, like something I'm playing with, experimenting. And yeah, I don't think like someone could make a big instructional or something out of this. You'd have to be pretty bored to watch what I'm doing for work on my Sunday, but someone might skip through it. I don't know. But yeah, thanks, man. So happy to chat pedals, you know, when people are interested. Couple more, 27 mil. Some of these are going to be like just the right length to just make it. Yeah, I'm just trying to do 2 at a time as well to speed things up, because most of it's just working out the next step and thinking, and it's not like continuous labor all the time. And like normally I do like 10 PCBs at a time, but these ones you can't really like pre-do the work because they're built into the box. I mean, you could do it on a jig and stuff, but that's not my thing. Okay, this one goes on to terminal 1, so it's like that side looking down. I'll put the shorter end into the pot end, make sure I have enough solder. Okay, it's not super neat. But I gotta get in there somehow. And this fan's kind of ruining things. Not the best soldering technique there, but it looks right. It's filling the whole terminal up. So later on, it's going to come up. I'm just going to put a kink on it, because that's going to come into a terminal later. Do the same. Okay, now I'm just looking what's missing, stuff like that. I'm gonna put this switch in, hardware off. So what are these? Oh, DC. Yep. I just got these in from my local shop last week, so there's a couple of bags floating around. So I have 2 dress nuts. This one I might use up the last one. That's a much better looking bag. This is too big. What are the chances I can pour it from one bag to the other? Wow, that's 20. I go quick. Alright, so from memory, I'm gonna get the spacing on these right. I think if it goes about there, like sort of, see how it goes. Yeah, I can take a little bit more thread out, maybe. You have to get the amount of thread just right with these nuts. It can't be too much or too little. I mean, there isn't much room to get it wrong. Oh crap. And it's really hard to grab with the pots in the way. Next time, do the switch first, then the pots. Oh, didn't matter. Cool. Yeah. And duplicate. So I'm just going to put one nut. And I'm visually looking, I know it's sort of like that ends about in the middle, then down a few. So you might get like, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 threads. Then I'm doing the serrated lock washer. Checking the amount of threads sticking out, it's about right. So if you don't have enough, then you just don't have much to grab to, so it's not going to be very strong, or it could just pop off. If you go too far, then there isn't much depth room in these dress nuts to go down, so you might just hit the roof of the dress nut and then not have enough room to sort of tighten up to the enclosure. Pots are in the way. Trying to be careful not to scuff the print. If I could screw this up so easily. Whoop. It's good to get just like one shot at all these things if possible, because if like if the nut gouges into the print, which I'm trying not to because it's all fairly flat and smooth. Anyway, I'm mumbling. Cool, and I still haven't ruined anything, so I'm just, I like to triple check I put the right switch in, the right amount of positions and stuff like that. This is SPDT, single pole, double throw, and center off. Because if you put the wrong switch in, you know, that's just gonna make me angry later. Not sad, angry. Cool. Moving on. I might, before I get any further, there's a resistor. I want to put these in a sec. So I don't need this hardware. I'm going to put them in with my switches. It's getting tidier. There's a little bit less clutter. Yeah. So I need 51K resistors. I think I didn't have those in carbon. I had to go to metal for them. Which I'll check now. I think I'm pretty sure, but not entirely, I guess. Otherwise, I wouldn't be looking. What does this say? 100. 100 again. 39. 56, oh, what's this? 47, no, okay. So it goes over to 3 watt, or is it 2 watt metal films, which are up here. Are these carbons? Oh, no, they're both, whatever. Is that 20K, 20K, 39, 39, 47, here we go, 51, hold my place. So not many of them left. I should probably do something about putting them on the bill orders. I'll do that now before I forget. It's going to write down like 51K resistors. So, what this one's going to do, let's check the wiring, is this correct? Yes, yes, that goes there. Sure, this one is just going to jump from the drive pot to the mod switch because this is carrying the feedback network off the op amp. So I'm going to cut some, and the 51K is in series with the 1 meg gain pot, so that's just going to limit it from going to 0. Just going to cut some of the legs off to make it a bit more handleable. And then even more, because I can't even fit that in. Cool. I do also need to make sure that the body of this resistor doesn't rub up against, I'm not even sure how I did that in the past, against the switch. What I might do is put a little sleeve on it, just so I can push it away, which means I hope I didn't just cut this too short. Oh, plus it's really thick to fit into this sleeve. That might happen. Oh, no, I just stabbed it. Next one, right? Let's try again. On the short one. I don't think I've done this in the past. I think I handled it a different way. Just fitting. This is a 22 American working gauge. So it's fairly thick. Okay. So yeah, I've just got like a tiny bit sticking out left. I like that. That's cool. So you want to move it that way, put a little kink on it. It's a real bloody fit. It's also got the input jack coming in here later too, so there isn't much room to mess around. But if I sort of push that away from the switch, and this is such a rigid line, there won't be enough like slack in to like push it up against the switch and then shoot it out, and even then you'd have to like rub through the casing of the epoxy or whatever they've used. Now I can't unfortunately solder the other end yet because there's another wire going in, so I'm going to sort of set it where I want it to be. Hopefully it won't move, but it does. I'm not going to do a mechanical wrap on this for the same reason as the foot switch. Like, the pot might be a serviceable part one day, someone might want to clean inside, etc., etc. Cool. Yeah, I think that's worked out. I'll have to confirm it later once that socket goes in. I might go grab them now. So 2 stereos, 2 monos. Stereo ones came preloaded with hardware, courtesy of CE Distribution, I think it was. So that'll be the input. And yeah, this is a tight. What was the plan for this? It's like that, I think. With that. I think there was that. So yeah, that'll be okay. That was the plan. This is nothing you can possibly hit, even if it was like stretched in any direction. I'm just checking before I duplicate to the next one so that I don't duplicate mistakes. So that sleeving idea, that worked out pretty well. I'm going to look for a slightly shorter one if I can find one. Most of these are about 9 mil. I'll just cut a little bit off it, that'll be fine. How's that looking? Pretty good. So I'm going to cut some leg off that too because I have like a little burr on it. And this is like really barely fitting. Like I have to be careful too because I could easily stab myself doing this. Cut more. Because I just realized what's the point in trying to slide it extra distance. Okay. Okay, come on. It's nearly like stabbing through the insulation. Yeah, I just pushed it into my finger. See that? Told you I could stab myself. I just like dug into my thumb there. Luckily there's nothing in that part of my thumb, it was all good. And I'm going to cut off like that. That's good. And I probably don't need all that. I'm going to cut off that. And again, that's going to go to the middle terminal. Do a bit of bending, some housework. Oh, that looks good. If you can just stay there, and I can cut the excess. I've tried to like not solder like right onto the component. Slip that sleeve. And I think that's looking good. So once we get past all this, it's like it's actually becoming a pedal now. I can get a bit more excited that stuff's building up, the hardware's going on, so it's getting a bit weightier, heavier. What I do need before I put the DC in, there's going to be a mono output socket here. It's going to go that way. And part of that's going to be the output wire off the foot switch. It's sort of going to like gum down, bury around this pot. So I'm going to do that first. Probably would have been easier before I put the pot in, but here we are. Here I am. There you are? Yeah, I don't know where you are, but it's not here. There you are. So this is the big one, 158 mil. How do I know that? Because it's the same layout as the Black Russians, which I just made before. 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, thereabouts, 158. Let's double check that again. 5, 6, 7, it's 1 mil longer. Or half a mil. So I need 2 of them because I'm doing duplicates. A duplicate. So the end that's gone to the foot switch, I need about 2 mil. Maybe 1 of it. Oh, because it's such a big wire, I can't spin it around. Come on, try and straighten it out. At some point I'm gonna have to call it on this video, but I could probably just do like a part 2, 3, 4, which would probably be sensible to break it up anyway, like. Can't quite smooth around. And I wasn't even thinking, I cut off the wrong amount on the other end. I need more than that. I need like that much. Just straighten up. No. So I need, I don't know, what's that, like 5 mil roughly? It's hard to get right around. There we go. And tin these, both ends. Doesn't quite slip in behind that part of it. You've got to like run it underneath and guide it. So I'm going to come up on the right hand side, feed it in. Wants to. It's a bit of a tight look. I'm going to make sure the installation is pushing in far enough that there's no chance it can short out against that link wire at the bottom there. There we go. So before I solder it, I'll just cut off that last little bit. It looks a bit like a blob. Just trying to be careful not to touch those other link wires. Oh. I get what I get with that, and that's what I got. So, I'll pull down the slack, some of it. And just, because I know there's going to be a tag running across here, so. And then whatever's left, I'll be able to feed into the mono output jack later. Cool, that worked. I'm happy with that. Same thing. What you can do is, if you know which angle this is coming in on, crimp and squish it so it's like a square. Right, so you're putting a square thing and a square thing instead of a round thing and a square thing. And fit it from this side, it's got a little bit easier. Again, this would have been easier to do before the middle pot went in. I think that's what I normally do. Can't get my pliers in there. I'm just going to see if I can wedge it off the edge. Keep wedging. Grab it now. Yep. Okay, now I do know the angle it's coming down, so I'm going to use the point closer to the pivot point. It's got like a more squish and a flat area. More squish. Let me just put in more squish. That should, if we get pull it through, fit in the terminal, is it? Yeah, and that one just fell in, which is good because I can sort of adjust the angle. Ready? Come back. The amount of insulation strip is pretty good. It's almost pushing into that next one. Can I cut it? Yeah. But yeah, luckily it's all Teflon coated, so I know it's not going to ever short through. I might just push that wire out of the way in a sec. One less thing to worry about. Cool. And again, suck out that slack, turn it down. And that's pretty cool. I put in the 47s into that switch. So here's my box of 47 no caps. I'll use the long axials later. This one I just want a regular polyester, not a polypropylene. These are by Nichicon. This is Japanese, so it's sort of appropriate to the build. And from memory, all I gotta do is put like a little kink, feed it through, wrap it around. I'm not really planning on this switch being changed, so I'm going to do a mechanical wrap. Get it in a spot now, somewhere I'm happy with it. Nothing can really short to there, especially by the time it's bridged to the next part, which is the tag strip coming in. I'm just going to stop that. How do we get what I see? That's good. Again, duplicate. But if I'm tag teaming these into, I'm hoping they'll come out a bit neater. And I've practiced on one, moved to the other. I don't have a 1 or a 2 or an A or a B. I'm just sort of jumping between, so neither one's getting extra special treatment. So I'm going to fold a little bit, cut the excess, try and not drop it in the box, wrap it around. And it's happy to just sit there and wait for me to solder it now. Cool. The other two terminals are going to have wires coming to them later, but they're going to come off the tag strip because the tag strip's also going to have further wires going onto it, so it's just easier that way. So these, I'm going to put little kinks in them, cut me out later. Kink, I don't know where it's going, but it's going to help. Okay, next, back to getting the DC sockets done. So there is like a system and a procedure for this. If you do it in the wrong order, like if I put this DC socket in, I wouldn't be able to get the pot in. So I do have to sort of slow down, think a bit. Otherwise you might be pulling things apart later and desoldering, whatever, that would suck. If I had to, I had to, but if I don't, all the better. So let me check how this is going to look. Got that mono one there. I just want to really get the LED away. Yeah, that's cool. I like that one. So I'll do the same on both, I think. It's a 12 mil hole, 12 millimeters. Used to be 13, then it was 12 and a half, now it's 12. Hey, Wadey. Hey Darren, see the Wizards. Hey man, thanks for stopping in. I didn't think many people would stop in. Yeah, this has been going a long time now. I don't know how I might have to take a break later. I'm not sure how interesting it is. And it's mostly just me, like, talking to myself. Which is so dangerous. Like, it's a habit that, like, I could easily just keep carrying. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna put the resistor in for the LED. It's gonna go straight up to the DC socket, and then the earth's gonna carry through the switch, through the enclosure, through the chassis, back. So I need a 1K carbon. And here is one. I guess I'll get 2 of them out. So we have Eastern, like, we use the ST here too because we're on the East Coast. Yeah, so it's nearly lunchtime now. 7:30 East Coast, huh? Yeah, it's not bad if you do things early morning here because it could be like people's evening somewhere else. So it sort of gets a different market sometimes. Like I feel bad sometimes when I work. It's like, well, this is probably my other time of working, but maybe I'll hit people overseas. Probably how I get people in the States a bit more. Okay, that's too long. I'm gonna make this a bit shorter. I don't want to solder too close to the epoxy body, but I get what I get. Now if I go on one side, I'm getting closer to shorting out to the pot, which shouldn't be possible. If I go the other side, I'm getting closer to shorting out to... So I'm just going to try and get everything as small as I can. Maybe I will take it the other way. Nah, that's fine. Yeah, these things are killing me. I'm just trying to at the same time to speed things up, maybe tidy things up. That's great. If you're coming by this way, I'm in outer Melbourne, so if you don't have a car, it'll be a bit of a pain, but I can get some to the shop, so you're welcome to swing by the workshop here. That would be pretty cool. Give me a heads up. There are some times I'm going away next week, and I should be, that'll be fine. So I'm gonna put like a kink. And it's a cool build too, I really like that. I've got a few floating around. I don't think I've got any built. I did. So here's when I started. Couple in the box. But I've been doing a study this year as well. I've just started full-time, called Outdoor Leadership, which is mostly hiking and backpacking, rock climbing, stuff like that. But it does take me away. I'm so screwed for time. I like just trying to be able to afford things and cost out timing. And it's going to be a crazy year. I'm hoping, good things happen under pressure, especially with this. If I can walk away for a little while, build up more pressure, more orders and stuff. Alright, I like that. That's looking good. Yeah, thank you so much. Like, yeah, direct sales does help out a lot. Like, I also am legitimately happy to help out a lot of the shops that are local too. Like, if someone knows they want something, yeah, that's great. The difference of a direct sale versus not, it's almost, not quite, but almost twice as much. I'm trying to close that gap, like focus more on direct sales, because I don't really want any shops handling overseas too much. So I'm trying to keep like pricing competitive. Not that that's what you need, but yeah, I've always sort of got that stuff in the back of my head. I hate money. It ruins everything. Like, you try and get everything done, then you gotta like put a number on it later. Or sometimes you have an idea and you put a number on it, like, no, that's not, it's not a viable idea. Again, money ruined it. So it's put like some little kinks and blah. Transistor, that thing takes way less time than one of these, but it's the same box layout, so I feel like they're sort of similarly cool. I guess the same sort of parts, like the exact same parts pretty much, like same Nichicon polyesters and same carbon films. So I feel like there's sort of brother sister builds in that they're the big format builds, but it's just like circuit board. So it's not crazy to build. And it's still traditional to the the build time sort of thing. It's halfway between electro-harmonics and my style, if I have a style. So there's another resistor going here. I'll do that later. I'm just sort of idiot checking. I think I can move on. I mean, I should always be moving on, but so what I need, basically I need all of those. And I'm just gonna sort of start preloading the terminals before they drop in, like any wiring that I can think of. I'm gonna pre-measure, so I'm sort of straightening everything up, like just making everything be at right angles, and because they bounce around in distribution and stuff. And before I put it in, I'm just seeing like how it does straighten, because otherwise you get them all wonky. They barely fit, and I did have to like grind them down with a wheel, grinding wheel, what's it called? Grinder? Don't know. Yeah, it's looking good. So I'm gonna put them aside, do them one at a time. Maybe I'll put them in the shot, they look good. There we go, that's the clickbait section. So I do know, to build this, I'm gonna need 2 of them, because everything's in duplicate. I'm just sort of guessing, I could get this wrong, but visually guessing it's about that much to get across. Yeah. I'm gonna, I guess what I can do, I'll cut off the excess. It's probably gonna fly towards my eye, look away. Solder it from the back because it's just a lot neater that way. Hopefully it doesn't jump around last second. No, it's good. It's filled up the whole eyelet really nice. Not too much, not too little. Squish that down. Just want to make it look neat. Pull it through. cut off the excess again. It's like it's better if I cut it before soldering it. I am HO. I'm going to solder that. It is a bigger terminal, so it will heat sink a little bit extra. But it's a lot easier to do it now than before it goes into the enclosure, because then it's going to really, really heat sink. So again, everything's in duplicates, so I'm just realizing I need to set up another one. So again, I'm just making them sort of right angles, straightening up all the teeth so it hasn't got a wonky smile. Let's see how that goes. Okay, I like that. Now, is that wire? Yes, it is. So these wires I'm using are clippings of diodes, like power diodes, so they're fairly hefty. So I put them aside. I'll cut them both at once, why not? So it doesn't pop out. If we're doing one at a time, just bridge across that whole terminal. I think I'm good. Same thing. Look at that. About that much, if you can see. I could probably start putting in those. Yeah, I'm starting to see. I'll put in. Ooh, because I've got to put the battery connector in at some point, and that's got to go down nice and early before all these tag strips go on. So I might consider putting in the Jackson stuff. Like, I feel like everything's sort of out of the way enough. Yeah. So I'll probably use up the whole length. It's going to have a bit of extra surplus. I'm going to get another one. Here's another one. With this build, I'm going to throw in those little plastic insulation caps. That way I can leave, whoops, just smash into everything. That way I can leave these wires nice and long, give people room to pull it out, because that's going to like tuck down there, tuck right under the last tag strips, and have about that much. I don't want people yoinking it, ruining things, so mechanically it's going to be like really well tucked and secured. But if these are floating around, it's got potential to have an earth terminal touch up against signal or something. So I'll put them on before I get too carried away and forget later. So yeah, I guess I'll put it in. Why not? Why not? It's going to have a common terminal with the input socket. So I can only put in a positive wire now into the switching end of that DC socket. I'm doing these one turn at a time, and that way I'm going to end up with a like even tension the whole way through, and by the time I get to the end, the lengths are the same length. Otherwise, if you just sort of twist it willy-nilly, it will you might end up skew with lengths. So I don't know. I'll feed the negative into the negative for now. Put a little kink over it, and on the positive, same thing, I'll feed it through. Oh. Let's just like try to jump the gun and go extra distance. Cut off the surplus, which is really tight to get into, but it's working. Okay. Plot size. So what I'm going to do, left very little insulation on that, but I just need to make sure that one finger's holding it down and it's not trying to push up into that solder joint. Otherwise the insulation will just melt and I'll make a mess, and it might still happen once from it. Yeah, it did a little bit, not much. But I have to like pull it down a bit now. Okay, this is dodge. I haven't done this the best. It looks okay, but I just want to push it up a bit now. Without melting, so I'm going to grab it a little bit lower. Liquefy the joint. Why am I missing it? Why am I missing it? There we go. Yeah, I'm cool with that. So, on that leftover, cut off the leftover. And that looks pretty ugly, but I guess it's going to be it for a while. Like, we're going to absorb that slack to it. If there is anything to tuck in, I do like to tuck it in. There we go. I'm just going to like, you live there now. I'm going to repeat that and hope I'm not repeating my... Oh, thanks, Wade. I'm just looking up at the screen every now and then. I don't get like a sound notification. Yeah, I think that's like a good example of Murphy's Law, like if something can go wrong. Especially like when people like try to rush and plug in a heap of crap. And imagine how frustrated you'd be. Yoinking something and... Fuck. Oh, I'm allowed to swear, this is not directed at children. That's that dirty mouth children. Fuck. Don't swear. Okay, so I'm sort of trying to get the amount of wraps that I want before it goes in. If it's one too many, it'll just twist and make a mess. Feeding in the negative, folding it over, so it's sort of got something to grab onto. And this time I won't cut the insulation so short. Maybe I'll do it before I really. Last one was a bit short. It could have very easily been a mess, but it wasn't quite. It's the same deal. I'm going to find an angle I can hold it down. Yeah. And the insulation's sort of like right in the middle on that little eyelet. If I'm quick enough, it won't melt. But I do have to be long enough to make like a good stable joint. So if I hold that negative one, I'm just going to tuck the excess in, make the other one. So I leave it in and just fold it over. That's got somewhere to live, hopefully for the life of the pedal. I'm still trying to work out which wires are going to come over under. Like if there's a signal one, I'd rather it running against the chassis. If there's a DC one against the chassis, which there won't be, so that's good. So I still might have the opportunity later to shuffle these up or down, but I'm hoping not. So I'm hoping that the battery's sort of last consideration to go on. I can start doing these, I think. I keep double thinking things because if you get the order wrong, and I haven't built stacks of these, but it's similar to other builds I've done, so I'm trying not to think too much. At some point you have to do. So let's start with that mono output because there's not much around that area. I can close that section off in my head. It's sort of like loose ends. Like how many loose ends are there? It's all loose ends at the moment. It's parts that aren't connected. So Now picking up loose ends, and eventually they all disappear and the pedal is done. So I'm going to feed the wire in before I install it. So these are switchcraft sockets, I really like them. All the Nutric stuff like that, I don't really like so much compared to these. And there's a bit of slack in this. I've over drilled it. It's an imperial size. I went to the next metric, so I have got a bit of room to go up and down. So I'm not going to tighten it all the way yet, until I can see how the other one sort of comes in line, because if you see it too little wonky. Maybe that's something I do. I just like to pay attention, like, did you drill things straight? And then you can see how accurate people are or aren't. So there isn't much room to mess around with this at all. What was I going to do? Like that? I think that was the idea. That washer in the other way. So I'm just trying to think of like what is the worst case scenario for things that can move, like say the enclosure was dropped that way off a pallet, gig bag, whatever, like would things bend and would they short out? And also like where would they land in proximity to what sort of, I guess, like a lot of these builds are just considering all the worst cases and making problems not be possible. Just a bit. Cool. And I like where they're both sort of seated relative to each other, so I'll tighten this one. That's the input. I didn't even label which one's input or output on this build. I didn't put a 9-volt or a polarity symbol or anything like that. It's just, I figure if you're spending so much money on a pedal, you should know these things. And it just made the artwork a bit neater. Like it made it look more, I guess, boutique-y rather than product-y. Slowly making little micro twists and tweaks and whatever. Because once I tighten it down, that star washer is going to find a nice spot and like start squishing into the metal. Aluminium's a relatively soft metal. Definitely not steel. Cool. And that's in. Did I put it in backwards? No, that's correct. So, because that's in, I should probably solder this, otherwise I might forget, and it might work later and pass test, even though it's not soldered. That's just sort of sitting there. Hopefully it won't pop out, and I won't bump it. Stay there, please stay there. Yeah, you're good. Cool. No, I don't think I didn't quite fill the whole terminal. So I'm going to have another crack at that from a different angle. Like it was fine, but I would like to see the whole terminal filled. And I'm just scraping off any of that black leftover gunk from the soldering. Next, I should have to bridge this connection. That's a pretty good wire here. Oh, I've got two of them. This will connect the negative up to the switching part, we'll call it, of the stereo socket. Is this wire going to be long enough? Yeah. I'm going to try and work this out. I'm pretty cool with that. It's just sticking out a little bit on the other side. Take it from this angle. Oh! Whoop. Just popped out. So I might actually hold it in place even though it's going to be hot with my finger while I solder it. Things we do for life, huh? I won't wrap that around, I'm just going to sort of mechanically bend it. I didn't leave enough to wrap it, but I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to solder it from underneath. Am I doing this right? Let me think. Wait, am I doing this right? That's going to go there, that, beer. You know what? I nearly forgot. I've got to squish this down before I solder it. That was so close. That would have been a mistake, a bad mistake, because it didn't have enough height clearance to not be sketchy about hitting the bottom of the panel. Hey Tony, this is, I don't know, I just looked up at the screen. This is a TS10, like a tube screamer that I'm building point to point using tag strips. Try to do two at once, just to speed it up. So I'm only like checking up at the screen every now and then. There's no sound on it. And basically I'm just doing like live videos so that I get some motivation to keep going, get the work done. It's so hard. I mean, like so easy to procrastinate. Like I just sit there and like stare at what I'm doing. Like I enjoy it, like sort of like daydreaming maybe. I'll just kink this a tiny bit in handling it. Cool. Alright, I'm going to try and solder that again. Maybe bring it, like squish it close to the terminal. Like more surface area. It's wrapping around on the bottom. But it is as such that I could like desolder it if I had to one day. Just like tack it out. If you want to make one, this, if I do the whole video series, you could copy it. This does take me like days to do it. I'd be happy to share the resources. It's just like, it's not like a secret circle or anything. Here's like my little diagrams I'm working off. So I'm doing the wiring stages now, then later on I'll put in all the like the top layer parts. It's all top to bottom. Failing that, I do have a TS10, like a DIY circuit I could set you up with. Like if you check out on my website, a lot of the circuits there actually have a DIY version. I'll show you the box. I think I've got one sorted out. Oh, maybe I don't. Do I? No. Take it back, I haven't printed any yet. But yeah, happy to do that. Like I do have the same artwork in a small box with just a regular circuit board. I just haven't got around to it yet. There's a few DIY projects I've been verifying them, but then I've got to make the like all the build documents and stuff, so it's hard for it to get priority when there's like actual work to do. Beginner easy circuit fuzz can be just if you stay away from germanium fuzz faces because they're their own little rabbit hole. It's a very, very simple circuit. Oh, if you want one, again, I've got a silicon EJ fuzz. That's a great little, yeah, super easy fuzz circuit. And I have beginner circuits like my THD. I've got a version like this. It's just 4 knobs, but the circuit board's been sort of pre-made, and you just got to put in the capacitors and do the wiring. That's a really easy one. It looks really complicated, but because there's no battery, it's sort of like paint by numbers. There's very like a minimal amount of solder joints to do, and you can see where they go because it's like all top-down view. That's fuzzy. It's a metal pedal, but the first little section of it actually is a fuzz. Most of my pedals are fuzz. I got like a big muff fuzz, a DIY one, a few versions of them. There's a small one, big one. There's more soldering in them because it's 4 transistors. So yeah, the fuzz face is easier. Just don't do germanium unless you want to add more problems, because then like making them sound good, you gotta buy parts, and like stuff can go questionable. I remember my first fuzz faces didn't work, and then some people, they just get it. I don't know, smarter than me. I didn't have kids and stuff when I was doing this. It was so much to go wrong. I think my first few pedals I tried to make didn't work, but now there's like all kits and stuff. You're not etching circuit boards and like making all these issues. Yeah, kits are like way better, and there's like support groups online. People want to help you, and it's a pretty cool community these days. Like, it's more saturated than ever, so there's like more people involved than ever. Constantly people learning. Alright, where am I up to? Same bit. So that went well. So I'm going to copy paste that across to this one. Put those jacks in. Feed. So I just sort of fed the wire into the terminal as it was going in. And if you're in Melbourne, I doubt you are, but maybe, I've been sort of welcoming more people to just come in and build it here, rather than doing a kit. That way I can sort of guarantee it's going to work, you know? I've had like a good success ratio so far. Like, one of my worries about doing the kits was, what do you do when they don't work? Because it's fairly common. Even I build things that need debugging. Not commonly, but you know, it's not uncommon in the slightest either. But when you start off, a lot of things don't work first time. And you go, oh yeah, I forgot that, or like that's in the wrong spot, or there's a short circuit there. So what I've tried to do is just make layouts that are not idiot proof, just less problem spots. I'm going to solder this in, even though I haven't tightened up that terminal yet. Because it's me who builds them too. I like to be as mindless as I can, because it affords me more, you know, more product without less screw ups. And I don't want to be second guessing anything. So that's the output, that's the mono socket. The input's going to be a stereo socket, so that's going to switch the battery on and off in a way. It's not like technically a switch, it's relying on the fact that you're putting a mono plug into a stereo socket, which means that 2 of the sections can be short circuited out because you haven't got that second channel section. So it's like earth can connect to another switching earth sort of a thing. Okay, again, I'm going to find out how did I do this. Probably something like that. I'm trying to get everything landing in such a way that there's no short circuits underneath, because this is really tight. Lift that up. I shouldn't tighten that one up, so I'm going to lift that up too. There is a bit of extra slack, so there is room for wiggle, like wiggle room. If I go too high, the enclosure lid will hit, but that's okay because it's just going to short earth to earth as long as it comes down. And this one too, I'm going to get as high as I can. And I want the terminals to land in a useful way, because I want to bridge from here to there. And I just want to make sure nothing underneath. Let me double check that. It's a bit twisted that way. Yeah, that's better. Are you heading off? Drive safe. See you. No, it's all good. It's life. Bend that down, bend that down. And I'll do the same thing. I'll put a big wire going across. I'm also just like considering when the jack goes in, when the plug goes in, these are gonna like spread out for like that bit of time, so they can't short to anything either, or like come close to shorting to anything. So yeah. Let's see how that looks. Not done it too early. Straighten it out. Start again. There we go. I'm smashing it with the time. Like this has been really effective, but I do feel like I should probably start taking a break at some point. Get something to eat. My stomach's telling me like I should have sorted him out before doing a long haul. Solder that negative from the back. So what's going to happen? The DC negative, like from the power supply, has to connect to the chassis at some point. It's got to go through the jack through the socket only when there's a jack plugged in, and then it's got to short out basically to the whole external case. And then I'm going to be taking earth connections off the case where I need them, which can be dangerous. I mean, not dangerous as in like you're going to zap yourself, dangerous as in you can make problems that way, but it won't. So yeah, it's sort of it's almost star grounding, and that you're using this point here as your reference ground point to everything else, and continuity from here to any other point is like ridiculously low through the enclosure. Short of what could have been like a copper wire going straight to maybe, but once you hit like a large area, the resistance goes through everything to get to everything, so it starts dropping down. It's like the resistance from one point of Earth, like the planet Earth, to any point is going to be the same pretty much from anywhere to anywhere, because they'll just factor using the whole planet. Not exactly, but like, yeah, pretty much. Okay, I'll keep going a bit, and I'm almost getting to the point where I'm going to drop the first tag in, but I am getting pretty mentally exhausted, so I might take a break. So yeah, hopefully I can continue the series. I don't know if I will. Like usually the live things don't work out for me, but if I can finish the whole build, or just keep going like a part 2, I might chuck them in a folder or something. So anyone watching, thanks for watching.